You may have noticed, if you've been watching YouTube for basically any longer than like 30 seconds, that a lot of YouTubers follow the same structure as far as recording their videos goes. So like they'll say some very similar things in the beginning, they'll say similar things in the end, all of that. And that's because there is a proven system to how you should script and record your videos to actually get subscribers and leads and lovers and whatever else. So today I'm going to walk you through my script for filming YouTube videos that actually convert to subscribers, sales, whatever you're trying to convert to. What's up, my people? Jessica Stansberry here, and if you are new on this channel, you are in for a treat. I am just saying. So here on this channel, I talk about using video and YouTube to better market your business so you can get more leads and make more money, honey. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell, because that's when you know you're really going to get all the notifications that say, hey, Jessica has a new video today. And I release videos 3 times a week on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So you're going to get notifications a lot, and that's awesome because I want to help you. To get really down into the subject of this video, I want to give you my scripting formula. So the first thing you want to do is you want to hook the viewer. Now, by hooking the viewer, I mean that first 15 seconds of your video should be telling the person who just landed on this video what they're going to learn and giving them an enticing reason to stay. So if you are a vlogger, this looks a little different, but you want to show the problem and tell them you're going to fix it in that first 15 seconds. So if you'll notice, if you go back to the first 15 seconds of this video, I told you that we were going to talk about how to script a video that actually converted, right? So that was my hook, okay? So first and foremost, you want to hook the viewer. Second, you're going to roll your pretty little graphic intro, and this needs to be something that's under 5 seconds. So whether that's something that kind of rolls in while you're still talking or something that rolls in separately, totally up to you, but it needs to be about 5 seconds long or less so that the viewer doesn't get distracted. All right, so the third thing you want to do in your script is you want to introduce yourself. Don't assume that everybody watching your videos already knows who you are. Most of the people watching your video right when it comes out do know who you are. They already subscribed to your channel. They got the notification that you had a new video. They know who you are. However, if you're doing your work right and you're tagging your videos and you're titling them and you're doing what you need to do correctly, then hopefully new people are finding you in search and new people are finding you in suggested videos. So from that, you want to introduce yourself because they didn't know you before they clicked on this video. They had no clue who you were. So take a few seconds to introduce yourself, tell them kind of the mission statement or the tagline behind your business, and roll it all into a ball. Now, the fourth thing you want to do after you introduce yourself is you want to ask them to subscribe. You're running a YouTube channel, and that's a big piece of it is having subscribers. And I'll tell you what, and it sounds ridiculous, but people need that verbal cue to remember to subscribe. A lot of times people will watch a video and be like, oh, that was cool. But unless you told them to subscribe, they're not going to think about it. They're just going to go on about their day and search, what they were already searching for and whatever. So make sure to tell them to subscribe after you introduce yourself. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can switch out that subscribe call to action with something else to convert to leads, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So after you tell them to subscribe, then you want to actually get into the content. Here's the deal. You don't want to spend a ton of time in the beginning doing all of the things I just told you to do, because people will get annoyed and they will leave and they will be like, oh my gosh, she wouldn't shut up and all I wanted to do was learn how to do this thing, and now I'm 3 minutes into this and there's no helpful advice. And at this point in my YouTube channel, I'm okay with spending a couple minutes telling people to subscribe, telling them who I am before I get into everything, because honestly, I know that's what's going to keep them around. But you want to be as succinct as possible and keep that piece a little bit shorter. But now we want to get into the actual massive part of our content. This is where you're going to give the tips that you're talking about, or the steps, or the format, or whatever. This is where you're going to do that. Here's a bonus tip. If you can, in the middle of this content block, which is going to be the longest part of your video, in the middle of this, take a break and ask people to comment. So right now, as I'm talking about this script, I absolutely could say, hey, comment below if people taking a few minutes in the beginning of their video annoys you, or if it doesn't. Let me know your opinion below, because I'd love to know. And go ahead and go do that. I'm okay with that. That's totally fine. But that's an example of breaking in the middle of my tips to ask you to comment, because then you're going to go comment, but also you're ready to hear the rest of my script template, right? So if you can fit it in to somewhere in the middle, ask them to comment or throw in some type of call to action, it is perfect. Once you're done with the content, you want to do like a slight little roundup of what you just talked about. You can say like, okay, so remember the 5 tips are blah, 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 blah. Or you can just say, all right, so that's it. Those are my tips on how to create a script that converts, and sign off. So the next thing you want to do after the content is over, after you've done everything you need to do there, is you are going to tell them to subscribe again. Yes, you told them in the beginning. That's going to catch those people. If they've watched all the way to the end and they haven't subscribed yet, they are very, very, very likely to subscribe at this point, because if they've watched the whole video, they probably like you a little better now. So you can say, hey, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss any other fun tips like this one, or so you don't miss any other content I put out, or so you don't miss next week's videos, or whatever. Like, you can kind of come up with your own saying there. And then after the subscribe call to action, you want to have some kind of fun sign off. So for me, a lot of times I will say, and until next time, bye y'all. And that's just kind of become what it is. My friend Owen video, I made fun of his, like, you can soar into whatever he said, that he said in every one of his videos. So you want to come up with some type of something that will, when you sign off, it just reminds people of your brand and who you are and what you do. So some type of sign off action, and then you're done. So that's your script. Now, a couple of tips here. One, you do not have to write out your script word for word. Actually, I don't recommend that you write out your script word for word, because for me, if I write out a script word for word and I set up a teleprompter right over here to the right of my camera where you guys can't see, or I have a notepad with all of it written down and I set it up here and I just read off of it, I feel very robotic. So for me, what I do is I bullet out the bullet points that I'm going to talk about for that specific video. So for this video, I had get into actual content, break the content up with a comment call to action, round up and ask for the subscribe again. This is just the second part of my bullet points. So I had that laying on my desk, so if I needed to look at it, I could. And that's how I recommend you do it as well, because it's going to feel a bit more conversational. Writing it out word for word generally tends to make people talk like robots. And unless you have some kind of TV journalist experience, reading off a teleprompter just doesn't feel natural to the viewer. So that's kind of bonus tip number 1, is not to write it out word for word, to use this as a format, but bullet point the things you're going to say. And then my second bonus tip here at the end is that if you are filming a video where you're going to send someone off the YouTube platform, you've already decided that this is one of your videos where you're sending them off the platform to get a freebie, sign up for a webinar, sign up for a challenge, whatever that might be. This is one of those content pieces for you, because you know I've talked about before how you shouldn't be doing that on every video. But if you've decided that this is one of those pieces for you, all you have to do is sub those subscribe call to actions with your call to action as far as what you're doing. So in the beginning of your video, instead of saying, hey, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell, you want to sub that out with something like, I created this awesome free guide to go along with this video. All you have to do is head on over to blah, blah, blah.com and grab that and you will totally know how to do the thing I'm teaching you to do. Then at the end of the video where I told you to ask them to subscribe, same thing. Just completely wash that out and replace it with your call to action where you're sending them off of the YouTube platform. The reason you don't want to do both or all of them, you don't want to ask them to subscribe and ask them to go get your freebie and then ask them to subscribe and get your freebie again, is because people get inundated with choices and you don't want that to happen. You want to tell them what you want them to do. So go ahead and tell them, hey, go grab my free thing. And they'll go grab your free thing. Now, if you are doing that, another bonus tip, if you are doing that and you are sending them off to something else, make sure somewhere in your welcome sequence that you are asking them to subscribe to your YouTube channel. That way, if they went ahead and they got your freebie and they didn't subscribe, that they're reminded to go back and subscribe later. All right, so that's how you script a lead generating, subscribe generating, whatever generating script for your YouTube videos to make sure that they work for you and not against you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And until next time, hit subscribe because I really don't want you to miss any other tips that I bring to you every single week, 3 times a week. Bye, y'all.